If you like the video, let us know down below.
And subscribe to go deeper down the rabbit hole. This has to affect the culture in some type of way. When I say the culture, I just mean like, I'm speaking them on like the culture. This American
the society, or
us as amoebas in this one culture,
right. Like in a petri dish.
It's like shining a light on the whole face the whole time.
I mean, essentially that's the flat earth theory, essentially. And the people, and you know what I'm saying, we don't know, bruh. We only know what the government is telling us. And when we get to a point when we realize that the government is going to tell us anything that they want us to, they're going to tell us only what they want us to know, or anything to keep us docile. When we realize that, then that's when we push away from religion, because there's supposed to be a separation of church and state. But this is a Christian, clearly, because they hate the Muslims, they hate the Mexicans, they hate, you know what I'm saying, they hate different races. If you're not the majority, you know what I'm saying, it's harder for you to prosper. Things of this nature. When we realize that the state is going to do anything in its power to force us down a particular ideology, that's when we start pushing away from all of those things and start thinking about ways of creating our own actual currency. because essentially that's why we are still enslaved, because our currency, our cultural currency is always to the land. But when we fell for the trick of when we fell for the trick of trading the land for things, that's when everything fucked up. And that's when we lost our value. That's when the value of our fucking solar plexus, for real, that's when the real value of our solar plexus was bent, and it's still being bent to disproportionate status. And it's examples of people out there that's doing things that, you know what I'm saying, make their life better or worth more or whatever case may be. But really, what does that mean when the overall that you had to do to get there,
It's embedded in this memory that goes down to DNA. It's certain things don't nobody gotta teach you. Even if nobody was around, eventually you learn. That's what's embedded in.
And it's not even learning for real.
And that's just surface.
Reintroduction.
Yeah, that's just on the surface level, and it's like so infinite of the simulations that's going on in different places. Because you might pass somebody, y'all walking down the same street, same cars around you, same houses around you, same people, but y'all might have two different experiences in your brain of walking down that street, and it's throughout memory. And we all do share a wide collective memory. However, inception has been broken down so into your household and your family name, and then just now you and your mother, or now just you and your brother, no matter what walk it is, the simulation is just, like when you playing the game, and whenever you turn, that's where the game is happening. But the city doesn't exist.
Right.
Or does it?
Or does it?
But either way, you got different memory built up of the skills that you have, the levels you get on.
Like, because I experienced the same sort of thing when I used to walk through the city, and you know what I'm saying, the reason I used to walk from U Street, 14th and U Street, Washington DC, down to Pennsylvania Avenue, which for real, it isn't really that long of a walk, people. But when I tell people I used to walk there, they're like, "Oh my God, that is so crazy," blah blah blah. And and the reason I ultimately did that and still do is because when I think of travel and I have a vivid image of my mind of the twists and turns of where I'm going, it makes the trip seem less long. You know how like when the first time you go somewhere, even if it's 5 minutes away, it's like the longest you've ever traveled.
And then once you walk there,
then it's like, it's right there.
I just gotta go up 10 blocks.
You know what I'm saying? It's to your point of the simulation.
Don't get it started.
Oh my god, that shit was just because then it's like, what's real and what's being fabricated to push into your mind to alter your way of thinking. Outside forces do exist. We know this, man. We know this. Outside forces do exist. But really, to what extent does it exist? And is it real? If we're all gonna die anyway, why do I care? Why do I care how I die? Fuck it. If let's say a war really kicks out and these niggas bring the business to Washington D.C. and they dropping bombs everywhere, same way that we've done to numerous places with drones and other shit. Let's say they just stop dropping shit. Let's say one day they just put bombs in 5 different buses and I happen to take one. Does any of this shit matter anymore?
Right. You asked it as a question. Well, maybe that's what we hang on to. Maybe that question is the will to live, to find out. Tune in for another episode.
Right.
Will I make it today?
Will I make it to 50?
I feel like that's where you have the question of death. Like, is there even an end, or is there a point where you just cease to realize that there's,
does it ever cease?
Correct.
Or does it ever cease? Because when you get into energy and you get into matter, you know what I'm saying, the thing about energy is that you can't really see it. It's a feeling. But then when it comes to matter, we see it constantly reshaping, and you know what I'm saying, we see it constantly evaporating and then going back and then recycling.
So that goes back to your question, does it matter?
Exactly. If it's just gonna get put back, with like
but maybe it's outside of matter, and until we exist outside of matter, when we come to the question, does it matter? So we take away matter from everything. What's life after that? And that's what we do not.
That's
know.
That's the part that's up in the air.
So you hold on to the will of living because that's the reality you choose to stay. When you let go of the ghost, the matter, you let go of the physical matter. Who would say we're actually ghost? It looks like a bookmark with 2 holes. Or, it's unseen the potential of what we can only dilute to what we may see as a god or a star from this realm, this perspective. It could be anything. It could be completely anything. I feel like where we just see stars, like when we look into star or look into the sky, we see like a diamond. Stars are not shaped like diamonds. They're light traveling. It's light traveling. You have nebulas that have died. The stars died, but yet we're still seeing reflective rings of pink and purple from something that existed in that space at a time that's probably 100.
And then if that represents a dying star, then what does a living star look like?
And and if we're connected to living stars, what are we actually like?
Right.
We're just, I feel like,
or how does one of those distant stars see us? Because, and then what does that mean for their time? Because let's say that distant star is a dinosaur at a dinosaur age, relatively, where like it's no logical thought being going on. It's just kind of like primitive. Let's say that other star is at a primitive stage, but they see us in the distance as a star. Does that mean that we've died before they even got started?
Exactly.
Other planets and shit like that? I mean, because what I think of as a star is a planet. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even
And get into the details, what is a planet?
right.
And what exists within the planet. So if these things existed within the planet, how will they take care of each other? How will it survive? How will it cultivate? How will it end?
Right.
And how do we do it all again tomorrow? It's just
This has been the rabbit hole.